Good morning, children, and welcome to our classroom. Today, we're going to have story time, so come on, gather around, have a seat on the floor. We're going to read a book together. Today's book is Twinkie Deconstructed. So, we've been working on this in class some, and today we're going to pick up where we left off at Chapter 3. Chapter 3, Bleach. When my kids ask me if the same bleach we use on our laundry is used to bleach flour for making Twinkies, I have to say, well, yes. Ew is the studied and, let's face it, expected response. Household bleach and flour bleach share the same essential ingredient, chlorine. That must mean that Twinkie flour, that nice, clean, familiar cake flour, is then bleached with poisonous chlorine gas. But don't worry, it's okay to eat, we think. It's just hard to see where it's made. To make chlorine for bleaching cake flour, disinfecting water, or making plastic pipes, you just need 2 raw ingredients. Tons of salt and a whole lot of electricity. And both salt and hydroelectric power are found in abundance around Niagara Falls, New York. The chlor-alkali, or chlor/alkali industry, that's the term for chlorine makers, is one of the largest industries in the world, and chlorine is the 10th most common chemical made in the United States. So a lot of companies should be making chlorine up there, and were until a few years ago. One would think it would be easy to find a few giant chlorine companies, but many of the people in the flour industry who use it are unable to say where it is made or by whom. It turns out that most have gone out of business, strange given that chlorine is such a commonly used chemical, or have merged into various conglomerates. Alas, not so strange. Many were victims, to be sure, of bad management, but safety and other government regulations have no doubt taken their toll on the smaller players. I did find 2 very helpful companies, though. Nearly 100 years ago, predecessors of what is now OxyChem, Occidental Petroleum Corporation's chemical subsidiary, the largest merchant marketer of chlorine in the United States, located what is now one of the biggest plants in previously mentioned area of Niagara Falls, New York. PPG Industries, formerly Pittsburgh Plate Glass, has one across the border near Montreal and several on the Gulf Coast, notably Lake Charles, Louisiana, and Beaumont, Texas. These plants either sit directly atop salt deposits, as in the Gulf Coast where most of our chlorine is now produced, or next to inexpensive hydroelectric power, like in Quebec. Let's skip forward a little bit. It talks about the salt. It talks about chemistry class. My son's chemistry class began exploring the periodic table as I began writing this chapter, and his teacher referenced chlorine as an example of an element easily found at home. Which is true, just not in its pure form. Chlorine may be one of the 12 most common elements in the earth, but it is always found naturally combined with something else, like sodium. These days, chlorine is made by releasing it from salt in an electrochemical reaction called electrolysis, the one first envisioned by the English chemist Michael Faraday in his early experiments with electricity in the mid-1800s. Wow, that sounds exciting. So, let's take a look here. They talk about chlorine, and they say that the short story is that the flour mill has to put back into the flour what it took out, plus a little extra for good measure and for good health. The long story is it has to go all around the world to get what it needs. Bleach, helping make our flour white since the 1800s. Hopefully you've enjoyed our story time today, children. Let's go ahead and go back to our seats where we can work on coloring koala bears. Hello, Chemistry. I just wanted to give you a quick introduction to our upcoming project on food ingredients. Hopefully you recall that you selected a food ingredient and a specific food to which it is added. You are going to be researching that particular food ingredient down to every detail of where it comes from and what purpose it serves in the food that you selected. The output of this, the part you're going to turn in, is going to be in a commercial or advertisement for the wonders of your particular product. And I say that with a tone that means it could be truly you think this stuff is just great and you want everybody to know about it, or there might be a little bit of a gross out factor and there may be a slight air of sarcasm to your advertisement to the wonders of the substance. Kind of depends. That's what we need to learn, is more about these weirdly named substances that we happen to find in our foods. The format of the advertisement is either going to be a full-page print advertisement, so something you create digitally or by hand and then send that in for a big eye-catching advertisement for your substance, or it may be in the form of an actual television commercial, which you're going to submit via Flipgrid in a format that's very similar to actual television commercials. And in doing that, you are allowed to bring in any assistants or props or things from your household that you want in order to create that Flipgrid video. But I'll give you more details about the project later on, but start thinking about what sort of format you'd like to do your final project in, and start doing a little bit of research into the background details of the origin and purpose of your particular food chemical. See you in class. What's going on here? Yeah, camera off, camera off. Okay, good. Twinkie time.